Hello and welcome to Women of Influence podcast. Hi, I'm Jaylen with the J Group Real Estate Team.
The Great American Speak Off.
One of my favorites.
I love that intro. I gotta do that.
Yes, it's super fun. Thank you so much. I love it too. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to another Women of Influence podcast. It's been a minute since I've done one, so I'm glad to be back in the game. Welcome, everyone. Victoria Gallagher.
Yay! Well, I'm so excited to be here. It's so great to meet you and another woman of influence right here in my own city, which I love.
Right. That's right. We both live in the Valley. I live in downtown Phoenix proper, and you live in North
Phoenix.
Yeah, not too far.
Not too far.
Not too far. So, Victoria, I found you on Instagram, one of my favorite socials to be on. And I know you're like this amazing manifestation guru and hypnosis, and you help people with their mindset. Can you tell us a little about yourself and how did you get into all that fun stuff?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that intro because I love it, and it's so great to know that people are, listening to me on finding me on my Instagram, because we definitely work at that. And so I would say I manifested this opportunity just like I've manifested every other wonderful and not so wonderful opportunities. We've got to take the good with the bad, right?
That's right.
But how I got started initially was like a lifetime ago, literally, like a quarter of a century, if you could believe it.
No way.
I was in not the real estate business, but kind of similar in some regards. I was a financial consultant. I was a stockbroker, and I had done that at various capacities. I started off as a sales assistant, and then I got my broker's license, and then I decided to become a stockbroker. And after doing that for about half dozen years or so, getting the corner office, my own assistant, life was good, 6-figure income, the whole 9 yards. All of a sudden, and I thought I was going to retire at that. All of a sudden, I just found myself totally burnt out, like totally like I cannot do this anymore. I can't pick up the phone. I can't get out of bed. I don't know what is wrong with me.
Yep.
And, it's like life would have been good because I had had it all dialed in my head. Like, this is going to be my retirement plan. I'm going to retire when I'm, old, 40, 50, whatever. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I found myself in a personal development retreat for 4 days, and really just kind of got in touch with who I was, what I wanted to be when I grew up, because I was only 28, believe it or not, at that time. And I decided this was it. The thing that I was doing to have this breakthrough, I wanted to help other people to have their breakthrough. And that, I didn't know quite what that was going to look like. Started dabbling in writing and recording some of my own meditations. And I said, hey, I think I would like to bring this personal development thing into the comfort of everyone's home and create these meditations that they could download off of a website. And that was kind of how it began. But then when I got certified I decided to go ahead and get certified in hypnotherapy. I wanted to have some credentials to back up my claims and what I was doing, make sure I was legit. And that kind of led me to say, hey, I think I'll open an office and I'll see clients one-on-one. And so in the process of going through all of that and getting my business license, my branch manager where I was working as a stockbroker found out what I was doing. And it was at that time, it was 1999. It was like no one did any kind of like moonlighting or side hustles or anything.
Yeah.
It
He
was
was
like
like, "What's wrong with you?"
yeah, and not only that, but it was kind of a little bit of an odd, hypnosis and all of that. So he gave me an ultimatum, and he said, you could either stay here and continue earning, more and more money, which I had kind of like these golden handcuffs. I was earning so
Mhm.
pretty good money for my age to like, or you can continue on this new path that you've started on where I was not earning any money. All that was happening was I was, just leased a new office, just took out all these ads, just all I had on that end was expenses. And so anybody in their right mind would just stay at their cushy, job and just forget about all this, hypnosis mumbo jumbo. But I
You
decided
had conviction.
my right mind.
Yeah. You were like, "All in. I am doing this. I don't care how crazy it sounds. I'm doing it."
Well, yeah, I was still hyped up on the whole seminar thing, it's like, you can do anything, you can be anything. It's like, if you do what you love, your money will follow. And,
Yeah.
it didn't quite work out like that initially. Like the first year and a half was pretty, I mean, I had to really change a lot of things in my outer life, but also in my inner, mind, because, I kind of had it easy for a while. And here I was like pretty much, you know, kind of following this new step without any, income to back it up. And so
Right.
that was hard. I
That
went
that
through.
sounds that sounds super scary. Now, I know you've helped countless number of individuals via hypnotherapy and helping them with manifestation. What are some of the common misconceptions that people have out there about hypnotherapy?
Yeah. So, a lot of the biggest misconception is that you are handing over control over your mind, to somebody else. And that nothing could be further from the truth when it comes to that, because ultimately it does give you more access. It just really what it does is it gives you more access to all of your mind, because, we're just in touch with just a fraction of our mind, just our conscious mind. And the bigger part, the part that's actually running the show, the part that gives us the idea that we think that we're acting on our own decision making, we're not. That part is the subconscious mind, and that's like running the show. It's like 95% of the mind. So when you're in touch with that, you still have access to your logical, rational, conscious mind that says, yes, I accept this suggestion. No, I do not want to accept this suggestion. You're actually more in control. Or that the hypnotist is going to make you do like wacky things like, bark like a dog or cluck
Oh,
like a chicken, things that you've seen in the stage shows.
yes.
All of that is like, for entertainment. It's real, but, the process of getting those people from their seats to on stage, there's a whole thing that happens there, where, they are really automatically kind of psychologically submitting,
Mhm.
just by virtue of the fact that they raised their hand, they volunteered, they have already made up their minds that they knew what they were getting into when they go on stage and do that whole performance. Plus, the hypnotist typically sends back the ones that are not, as
Some
deeply hypnotized.
got
And,
it.
so, it's a lot of, or, that it's a quick fix that you're just going to walk in and, you're just going to be instantly like changed. And it's like anything. It, does require some repetition. It does
The
require
process.
willingness, motivation, determination, just like anything else.
Mhm.
It's just the difference is that you're using the more powerful part of your mind to make the change. So it just happens more quickly than it would if you were just trying to use conscious willpower.
Got it. I'm curious to know, can you hypnotize someone over a digital meeting like Zoom, or does it have to be in person?
That's a great question because, back when the, coronavirus, COVID hit, a lot of us in our industry, a lot of people were seeing clients just, in person in their offices. And so when everybody had to stop seeing people, many people turned to Zoom. Now, I had already done that, like starting back in 2005. I moved from Vegas to Florida. Vegas is when I started my office, and I decided I was not going to open up another office. There was no Zoom, there was Skype, there was phone, all of that. And I just had decided at that time I was going to do phone sessions or Skype sessions, and no more, in person in office sessions. And it works just fine. It's similar to the concept, and I guess maybe why I thought to do that is because I was making the recordings.
Mhm.
And so, if you can get hypnotized with a recording, you can certainly get hypnotized one-on-one over a digital, meeting. So
Got it.
and you don't even need a recording. You can hypnotize yourself. It's just the recording, and the hypnotist is there really to provide some guidance, for you.
Got it. What are some of the most commonly asked things or frequent issues that people come to you about that they want to get hypnotized and like, please help me with this issue? What are some common things that people come to you with?
I'm a little different because I have really kind of developed myself in a niche of manifesting success and law of attraction and working with entrepreneurs. So I sort of have my own set of issues, which I'll talk about. But typically, the typical hypnotist gets a lot of requests for the top three things are usually weight loss, smoking, and some kind of stress or anxiety management, or maybe even sleep or pain control. So those are like the most common things that most hypnotists get asked for. For me, what a lot of people need help with is, focusing, time management, believing. That is like such a huge thing, is believing in themselves, believing in their ability to, make money, to attract clients. I do actually work with a lot of real estate professionals as well.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Helping, with the sales aspect of it, helping to have an abundance mindset. I think that's critical when it comes to, especially, you guys deal sometimes with inventory issues. It's like, oh, there's not enough, properties to sell. And, but you have to kind of just, it's about changing your mindset to look at what is there rather than what's not there. And so, I deal with salespeople, entrepreneurs, people looking to increase sales, motivation, confidence, productivity, like all, you name it, like anything in that genre.
You and my husband definitely need to talk about the sales aspect of it for sure. Like he could use some help with a couple of things. Love you, babe.
Yeah.
But
Just a side note, my husband is in sales. He's in high-end luxury. He actually, you may know the store. He works for Hammer Jewelers, and so I mean, he was just a ordinary salesperson. He's always been a little charismatic, but I mean, he was just an ordinary salesperson before we met. And so much of what I talk about really has rubbed off on him, to where, I mean, he has just excelled in his business, and he
that's
uses the stuff.
wonderful.
He really has. I mean, he's top salesperson there. they almost kind of look at him like a sales manager. I mean, anybody that comes in, they talk to him to get the training, and so a lot of that, I'm not going to take all the credit for it, but definitely he listens a lot to to what I say.
That's fantastic. I love that. So now
Yeah.
I know you emphasize the importance of mindset and discipline and habits and the habits you have to have in achieving your goals to achieve that success, right? So what are some practical tips or exercises that you might recommend to listeners who are looking to cultivate that success-minded mindset and they want to get those habits?
Yeah, I think it really starts off one of the biggest habits, best things is just to know what you want, like to be really clear about what is the goal that you are aiming for. And to, be very single focused on that one goal because, it can be really easy, especially, when you're in the business of creating your own income, or a business owner or somebody in sales, it's so easy to go all over the place and say, oh, I want to focus on this or I want this, but it really does require some discipline to stay focused on one goal. That would be one. I don't know if you would call that a habit, but a tip. A habit I would also suggest is, having some kind of a morning routine. Each morning, waking up, writing down your goals, writing down what you plan to accomplish that day. Doing some kind of, mental reprogramming to program yourself to set you up to have a successful day, whichever aspect of your life, or your personality that needs a little help, whether it's your motivation and your drive, or whether it's your discipline or your focus or your believing that you can achieve those things, just taking some time every day to do the reprogramming mental work. And then another thing too that is aside from just hypnosis, is working in Pomodoros. Have you ever heard of Pomodoros before?
Is that like a tomato?
It's kind of, so the guy who invented it, he did something with the, tomato timer, and I think his last name was Pomodoro or something like that. I
Oh,
don't remember
okay.
how the name came up, but what it is you work on one thing, for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break, and that's one set, and you do 4 sets of those, and so that's, ultimately, like, the one, um, you know, like 2-hour Pomodoro session.
Okay.
And when you do that, you get you're just productivity just goes through the roof. You would be surprised, when you are not that dedicated to that focus. It's like people have a tendency to like, oh, let's check my email, let's check social media. It's like while you're
Right.
working on a project, all this extra time just kind of gets spent doing all these extra things, and you don't realize how much time actually gets wasted by doing all of that. So by having this special focused Pomodoro time, you just like maximize your day and you get so much more accomplished.
That sounds like a great idea. I'm going to have to go out there and invest in one of those tomato timers. I think that's just like visually, it sounds really cute, and I can see myself like okay, paying attention to that timer. I'm like, okay, it's like a challenge, right? I have to get this particular task done within 4 minutes or whatever it is. So, what? Why do you believe? What is the reason or some of the reasons why most entrepreneurs like myself and other real estate agents, for instance, why is it we have such a hard time, achieving that laser focus and doing like just one thing at a time, or even, figuring out what it is, that one thing that we want to be doing?
Well, for one, just by nature, it's really easy for anybody, to just get distracted. And, we have so many thoughts, and we have something like 50 to 70,000 thoughts coming at us a day. And so we
Oh
have
my
so many
gosh.
so many things that are really competing for our attention. It really, yeah, and you can just you get that squirrel thing. And so and then you haven't if you haven't actually set out to say to yourself, okay, this is the thing that no matter what happens today, like this is my priority, and understanding like why this is a priority, to get that done. So I think it really just kind of comes from we're just kind of designed that way. So unless we really purposefully set out to discipline ourselves to stay focused, we're gonna just kind of naturally just, dart all over the place. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means that, you haven't made that a priority. You haven't put the forethought into it. Maybe, you haven't really figured out. I mean, trust me, I have my days where it's like, there's 20 different things I wanna be working on today, and if I have not, like, committed to, like, this one thing getting done, I will probably get nothing done. Because it's like, "Well, I can work on my ads, or I can work on my social, or I can work on new content, or I can upload this video," or I mean, there's, like as I can write it, still working on, like, a couple books in the background. There's so many things.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah.
I'm hearing that you need to have not only the commitment to do it, but you need to have that discipline, make the decision, like I am deciding to eliminate all other distractions and focus on this one thing. Whether I feel like it or not at the time, like I'm committed to doing it.
It's so true, and of all the things that I teach, when it comes to, like, the law of attraction and manifesting and success and productivity and focus and all of that, you hit the exact nail on the head, and it's discipline. I mean, and luckily, I mean, for the most part, like, that has sort of been my middle name, like, but discipline, the it's like really hit or miss because unless you have the disciplined mindset, you say like, I'm going to be disciplined in this one thing, then you can, it just won't be there. It's not like naturally just, okay, like I'm just naturally disciplined. It's this mindset that like, that this is super important. I know why I am doing this. I know what I'm getting out of it, what's the benefit of it, and why it's so important. And then you just, you bring that discipline. You're able to bring that discipline forth.
I love that. So you have to know and understand why what you're doing is important. And I just have to like throw in there now that I know what your middle name is, I'm gonna start calling you Vicky D. Yo, Vicky D, what's up? I love it. So let's talk about your podcast a little bit. You have a podcast. You've had several episodes. I've listened to a couple of them. That it's called "The Power of Your Mind." I know you've had a variety of guests. What would be maybe one or two of your standout guests that you've had, and like, what did you guys talk about?
Oh yeah. So I've had this podcast pretty much almost since I moved to Arizona. I started it because I have my studio and a friend of mine wanted to create her own podcast, and she was just she just wanted to see what kind of equipment she needed. So she came by and she actually recorded her first podcast over at my place. And I just kind of decided just, because I have to be involved in everything, like, well, I'm going to have my own podcast. I didn't really put much into it. And at that time, it's like I didn't know if I was going to have guests, but eventually I started having guests. And, they got bigger and bigger over time. And I would say probably One of my favorite guests that I had was Joe Vitale. Joe Vitale was one of the featured teachers on The Secret. And so it was a huge, huge honor to have somebody that celebrity status, on the show. But it wasn't even just the fact that he was this high celebrity status. That was my initial reason. Having him now twice actually on the podcast, we talked about like his story and his background, and I really got to know, he came from nothing. And, he actually went through a really, really hard time where he was homeless for a little while. And so I really got to know the real him and the things that he went through. And it just, when you hear somebody going through something like that to get to the kind of success, he's written over 80 books, probably more by now.
Oh,
He's
wow.
like addicted to writing books. And he's just such a giver, and he's so warm and so kind, and just he just wants everybody, to be as successful as he is and more. And, we talked about one of his great claim to fame that he talks about is the Ho'oponopono prayer. And it's a prayer of forgiveness where, I'm probably
I
not.
know that one.
Know that one.
I
Yeah.
do. I think, is it the one where you say to the person, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you,
Yes, and thank you. So it's those
and thank you.
4, yeah, and it's those 4, and it's so powerful, and it can really help you to release a lot of, blockages, and he's written a whole book about it. He wasn't the originator of it. There was another man that's from Hawaii where, came about. His name's not gonna come to me right now, but, with permission, Joe was able to, come up with his own strategy of way and certification in the way that he teaches it. So he was definitely one of my favorite guests. So I love talking, I kind of tend to now draw like highly successful 7 and 8 figure earners, who have, manifested, like they set their intentions and they carried that out, and they, became, extremely successful in their careers. And so that's, typically who I like to, interview. I could like list off a bunch of great, names of women. Catherine Cameron hers was a life-changing episode as well, and so many amazing guests.
I
I'm so
love that.
honored.
That's well, I'm honored to have you. I just love hearing all of those stories about life transformations and where people came from and where they are now. And part of the reason is because you helped them with their mindset and their belief system and things like that. I know that many people, myself included, struggle with some self-limiting beliefs. People, appearances are so different than what's going on the inside, right? And so yeah, I don't want to like get too much in the weeds here, but I mean, how common is it in your experience to run into that imposter syndrome when you're talking with one of your clients?
It is everywhere. It's you're definitely, and I could tell that you're probably asking a little bit maybe for yourself or people that you've dealt with. I deal with it, believe it or not. It is everywhere. Every single I can't even come up with one person that I've met that doesn't have these thoughts like, who am I to be talking about this? Who am I to like give you any kind of, because we all go through our own struggles and then, we have to kind of get up and face the day and look good and look like we've got all, our act together. And I think that part of that, is just that what we see out there, most people are only putting out the good parts, but they don't see behind the scenes. They don't see the struggle. I mean, like for me, I mean, with, the struggles that I've been through with bringing this new Believe app to fruition, you can't even imagine how many tears I have cried over that, and how many times I feel like giving up. And so it is, it's real. The struggle with that imposter syndrome is real. And I think, what it really just kind of comes down to is to know that we are human. We're spiritual beings, having this human experience. And I think that the more we can connect with our authentic self, and give ourselves some grace, that like, look, it's like no one's told us we had to have, our stuff together.
Right.
And realize, it's like when you're it's like it's it's a roller coaster. You're going to be on top sometimes, and then you're going to be kind of having this feeling like, oh, what if they find out that I don't really know as much as they think I do?
Right. Yeah. And I don't know why so many people feel the need to only show the good stuff, or, the successful things. I mean, it's okay, I think, in my opinion, to show people that you're real. You're going through struggles too. Everybody does, right? It's like, it's not all like everything's great.
So, yeah, it's so true. As a matter of fact, some of the best podcast episodes I had was during that, real rough time before the app actually got launched. And I was, sharing the things that I was going through, and kind of like coaching myself a little bit along the way, and saying, well, here I am, the manifesting, guru. I talk about
Mhm.
manifesting. Why did I manifest this? And it's like, I can tell you why, because I started, going through my own negative vibration. And, it can be tough when you just get hit over and over and over and over and over again. And then, you start to like have a little doubt, and you start
Yeah.
to kind of, and, and so I would catch myself and realize and explain this in real time to people, how I was dealing with the things that I was dealing with. And it's like, okay, every time you catch yourself having this negative thought, realize, what is that doing to my vibration? And is this something that I want to, you know, um, stick with? And it's like, it's okay that I got here. I'm not judging myself, but what do I want to manifest? Do I want to manifest more of the same stuck energy where I'm at right now? I'm going to have to do something to pull myself out of this.
Right.
I'm stuck, and I've got to raise my vibration. And,
Yeah. I love
and
that. I'm
yeah.
all about like positive vibrations. And I think on that note, a lot of people don't know that there's like a real science to that, to the vibrations of the universe. I think the vibration of the universe is 432 megahertz or something like that. And
Yeah.
like, and they have apps. I don't know if this is on your app. We'll talk about your app next, but they have apps where you can actually listen to that vibration. It kind of like thumps or something in the background, and it kind of helps get you aligned to where you want to be, right?
It does.
Um,
It
yeah,
does. Yeah.
yeah.
It's yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I think it's that kind of stuff is like really, really cool. I'm all into that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's talk about your app. Now, I don't know anything about creating an app and getting it launched on the App Store or Google Play, it sounds like, oh my God, so overwhelming. But congratulations to you
Thank
for
you.
doing that. Like, what a huge accomplishment. So what does the app do?
Yeah, okay, so the app is called Believe. Oops, you never know where to
Oh,
point. But yeah, the app is called Believe, and essentially what it is a library of every hypnosis, meditation, affirmation session I've ever created.
oh,
So
cool.
you have over 1,000 of them in the app. Because as I was getting ready to launch it, I wanted to double. I had an app
Oh,
before that.
I found it.
There
That's
it
it, right?
is!
I'm
Yay! Yes.
downloading it right now.
I love it, live time. Um, yeah, so essentially, and it keeps track of your stats and it gives you, badges of achievement for, it rewards you for the more consistently you listen, and for listening, for a long time. So it keeps track of your minutes and number of consecutive days and number of sessions you've listened to. And
Love it.
yeah, and it also has like a little meditation, a silent meditation timer. Cause sometimes, I mean, obviously I want you to listen to the mental programming, which is me. But I've always done Insight Timer. And Insight Timer is like a meditation app, where you can do the silent meditation. So I included that as well. It has little reminders, and we're building a bunch of other cool features. And yeah, so it was quite a feat. It shouldn't have been, but I just did not attract the best team initially to build this app. And so it was like pulling teeth getting it to that point. And I eventually found another team, and they were slightly better. I just like literally today is the day that I just signed a contract with a new develop developer, and I just know is like everything that I've been looking for in a
Yay!
developer. So I'm super excited about that.
Congratulations. That's so exciting. Everybody that's listening right now, go to your App Store or Google Play right now and download the Believe app.
Yes,
It's
yes,
going
that
to
would be
change your life.
it will. It absolutely will. Yeah, so yeah, just type in Believe Hypnosis just to get right to it, and you will find it and you will love it.
I
And leave
love
me a
it.
great
Thank you.
review.
Yes, absolutely. I will for sure. So, Victoria, unfortunately, our time has come to an end. Is there
Ah.
any words of wisdom or advice you would like to leave our audience with today?
Absolutely. I just like for people to know that, just like a lot of other, thought leaders have said in the past, it's like if you have a dream in your heart, if you believe you can, if you think you can, you absolutely can. Just stick with it, stay persistent, and use the Believe app to reprogram your mind so that you can believe, because believing is the key to your success.
I believe that I can do it. And I believe that I can use your app every morning, every evening, whatever time I decide to do it. And I'm like, I can't wait to report back to you what it's actually done for me.
Yes, I would love that, and I would love to, hear back from you and stay in touch, and know what you're working on and how it's helping you to achieve that success.
Definitely. And knowing that we live so close to one another, we should like meet in the middle one day and go have coffee.
I would love that. I would
That
love
would
that.
that
That
would
would
be
be
super
so
fun.
great. Yes,
All right. Well,
definitely.
thank
I'm
you
in.
again, Victoria. Have a fabulous day and bye everyone. We'll see you
Thank you,
next
and thank you
time.
so much for having me on your podcast. I'm honored.
Thank you. The honor is all mine. Take care.
Thanks, you too.